If you have a sunny, semi-shade position that's sheltered, if you have a pot that's about 60 centimetres in diameter, if you do a couple of little maintenance jobs every now and then, you will have a lifetime supply of bay leaves.
First, you have to grow one. When purchasing your bay tree, it's important that you look on the label for Laurus Nobilis if you're planning to use the leaves for cooking and eating. Other plants can be labelled common names like sweet bay or bay, but they may not be edible and they may even be toxic.
A bay tree offers flavour and complexity to your cooking and beauty to your garden. They have these amazing glossy green leaves and they can be shaped and cut to however you desire. Bay trees like a sheltered sunny position with a little bit of protection from late hot afternoon sun. Which zone can you grow bay trees in? A slightly warmer temperate zone, Mediterranean, is the best. I'm in a zone 7 and we go down to minuses in winter, quite a lot of frosts. And so you need to do some protection and you need to put it in a sheltered, sunny, warmish, frost-free position if you've got one of those in your garden or a greenhouse over winter if you live in a colder climate like mine. The plant is doing quite well in this position. There's a little bit of new growth coming on. It doesn't get frost here. It gets a bit of morning sun and midday sun. The soil should be moist and well drained. In the right conditions, bay trees can grow up to about 18 metres tall and about 6 metres wide. Pots and containers go a long way towards containing or bonsaiing your tree. Every 5 years or so, though, you will need to repot it and trim the roots down. And every year you'll need to also prune the tree down to the desired shape and size that you want. And the best time is at the end of winter or early spring, pretty much before the new growth comes on the plant. It's best to avoid pruning during the period when the plant is actively growing, and the size and shape is up to you. I've seen plenty of bay trees pruned into a lollipop shape. The key to achieving the lollipop shape and other topiary type shapes is continual pruning. When the bay tree gets to the desired height, you cut off all the lower branches, leave about 1/3 at the top. Then over the next couple of years, keep clipping the top. Generally just use your eye to shape it into a ball shape. When pruning, always cut back to a leaf or a node. I might think about cutting off the 2 lower branches. I use a lot of leaves and an ornamental shape probably wouldn't look all that great with me plucking off the leaves. The bay has a cute yellow flower and black berries. The seeds propagate quite easily, or put it this way, they occasionally self-seed into my garden and then I've dug them up and repotted them and given them away to friends. But I've also propagated by cutting, and this is actually more difficult. They take a long time to form roots, and for me they have a high attrition rate. I've got 6 going and they're enjoying the warmth of my lounge room, and in the day they get a bit of sun through the window and hopefully I get at least 1 out of the 6. The leaves are the edible part of the plant. Avoid the seeds and any other part. It's the leaves. The bay leaf can be harvested all year round, and if you have an excess, you can dry it and use it for later. And now for my favourite bit. The cooking. The bay tree is regularly used in pickling, soups and stews, and it offers aromatic sort of peppery and lemony notes to your cooking. The bay leaf also offers a subtle bitter flavour to the mix as well. The bay leaf is often paired with bean dishes, and so aside from Italian food, that is often the way I have consumed bay leaves. One of the great benefits of pairing the leaves, a bay leaf with a bean dish, is it does serve to take out some of the flatulent effects of beans, and so it not only adds that rounded flavour with high aromatics to your cooking, but it also balances out gassy properties of the bean, and so they go very well together. You'll see a lot of recipes for beans that have a bay leaf. I really like very simple recipes with beans and bay leaves, and this one is just a white bean recipe. Make sure you rinse your beans before you start cooking, and that does help as well in reducing the gassy properties of beans. And just pick over it. Sometimes you can find little rocks or other different beans in the mix. You soak them overnight. 12 hours is the optimum time to soak beans. You cook it for about an hour and a half, but just test it. You might need to cook it longer. You simmer the beans
beans with a couple of bay leaves and a sprig of rosemary. Take the beans out of the water, and an important part of cooking with bay leaves is to always remember to remove it from the cooking before you eat it. The leaves are hard to chew, eat and digest. They can pass through your body and they're quite sharp. I roast little cherry tomatoes, some garlic, more rosemary, bit of olive oil, bit of mountain pepper. When I take the beans out, I stir this through the beans. It's a really simple winter comfort food. It's really nice. You can add chorizo or chipolatas to that flavour, you know, if you need meat with it. I'm a fan of herbal teas, but I have never really looked much into drinking bay leaves. I've used it, of course, for cooking for many decades, but I've never really thought to try it as a tea. It was only actually in the making of this video I decided to have a look at what the herb offers as a tea, and discovered it's an ancient medicinal herb that has been used in the Mediterranean regions for thousands of years for medicinal purposes. It offers a lot. It relieves respiratory issues and coughing, good for the digestive system, good for flatulence, anti-inflammatory properties, and it's good for pain in the joint relief. And this is something I wasn't aware of, and in the course of the last week I've made myself a few cups of bay tea each day and I've been ingesting it. I had a little bit of joint pain in my knee and I thought, well, I should try some bay leaf tea and see if it does the job. And seriously, it did help my knee and relieve some of the inflammation. It's a funny tea though, because it's clear. It doesn't have that, you know, luscious colour, and so it feels like you're drinking water. I've infused this for about 7 or 8 minutes now, just in the hot water, and I have been drinking this and just topping it up and sipping it for most of the day. It's a nice flavour, slight lemony. It's got a full flavour because it's about 2% essential oil, so it's got that slight oily, not unpleasant though, flavour on the tongue. It does offer flavour, it's just very strangely clear in colour. Yeah, so I'm really impressed with bay leaf tea and the serendipitous discovery that it's been good for my knee. I've heard a lot of people say they don't really think the flavour's all that good and you need to add something else to it, but I really don't mind the flavour. It's subtle, it's not bitter. I use just the fresh leaves straight off the tree, and I don't even dry it. Some people say you need to mellow the leaves out a bit and dry it, but I didn't mind it in this form at all. It's maybe my tree is a bit mild. So cheers to the bay leaf tea. Thank you so much for watching this week. Thank you so much for all the subscriptions and comments, and I hope to see you in the next episode. Bye.